She's got long legs and short shorts, but she ain't got no teeth. She wears a red bandana on her head and she smiles so sweet. She'll steal your heart, a very first sight that should rip apart your soul. She'll torture your mind and waste your time and drag you down the road, 'cause she's a Jezebel, St. Andrew Jezebel, 'cause she's a Jezebel, St. Andrew Jezebel.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. Ashley Feller here. I'm a third-generation Panama City native. I'm a musician and also a singer-songwriter. I also grew up in historic St. Andrews. This week, I'll be sharing community events for the upcoming week of June 24th through 30th. For our Salty Local this week, we've got Eli Ingram here to talk to us about his original music and his 2 local music projects. How many Alabama tags have you seen today? Where I live in Panama City Beach, my street is lined with them pretty much all the time. Bay County has been a long-time playground for many, but I'd be willing to say that most of our neighbors are from Alabama. This week's old news segment comes from the St. Andrews Bay News, June 26, 1934, and it documents a high number of Alabama plates way back then. I can't say I blame them. This is a wonderful place to be, right here in historic St. Andrews. We've got a great show ahead, so get comfy, grab your snacks and your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. This weekend's forecast is predicted to be scattered thunderstorms with a high around 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds in the southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour with a chance of rain of 50% on Friday, and then on Saturday, partly cloudy with a slight chance of thunderstorms with a high of 86. Winds at the southeast from 10 to 15 miles per hour and a 40% chance of rain, and it will likely be the same on Sunday. As locals, we know that Florida weather can change just like that. Fortunately, in St. Andrews, almost all of the merchants have inside sections. Does your yard or porch need a wind chime? Of course it does. So come make your very own at Gypsy Beach Treasure Creations. They have all the baubles, shells, beads, and driftwood for you to create a magical piece that everyone will envy. It's $35 per person, and all supplies are included. Call Kathy and register today at 904-451-3071. This event is tonight on Thursday from 6 to 8, but you never know, there might be a spot open, so give Kathy a call. Also this Thursday, the Panama City Quality of Life Department is having a picnic in the park from 5 to 7 in Oaks by the Bay Park. They will have food, beverages, music, games, and more. This event is free and open to everyone. We also can't forget that the Salty Sunset Market is every Thursday from now through September, and it's now on the lot next to Native Spirit at the corner of 11th and Beck Avenue. There's less farm, more art, and you can expect to see a variety of handmade goods, art pieces, and maybe some live music. I've heard the Ukes have played there recently. For all my fellow songwriters out there, the library invites you to Singer-Songwriter Open Mic and Collaboration Night hosted by Jumbled Juke. This event is every Thursday from 6 to 10 p.m. Bring your songs and share your ideas and meet with the songwriting community. This Friday, the Jazz Masters are playing at the library from 8 to 11. One of my most favorite musicians, Luke Pinniger, plays with this project, and I really think this would be the place to be this Friday night if you enjoy great music and libations. The new fence exhibit is up. The current theme is reptiles and amphibians, and the pieces were painted by Floriopolis volunteer artists. Some of the artists include Jim Hayton, Silas Dyer, Kelly Dyer, Krista Eggleston, Heather Parker, and more. The Art in Public Spaces exhibit is sponsored by Pat Nace and Denise Nyland. Thank you and all the sponsors for supporting Art in Public Spaces. If you are interested in creating art for the next exhibit, I encourage you to come to Floriopolis, located at 1131 Beck Avenue, for public art hours starting at noon every Wednesday. Floriopolis supplies the canvas and paint, and you create your own piece for the fence. The upcoming theme is boats and water, so come hang out with us. I hope to see you there. Maybe by Sunday we will see clear skies. One of the places I like to spend my Sunday fun day is at Little Village. Joseph Brooks, who was a recent guest here, is playing the brunch set starting at 11, and then it's time for Casey's open mic at 2 p.m. Bring your songs, bring your friends, enjoying something delicious from Finn's, and come spend your Sunday fun day with the kind folks at Little Village. Who says there's nothing to do on a Monday? Little Fest is every Monday night at the tap room. Local artists showcase their talent, and the bar flows with 54 taps. Join Kirk and friends every Monday night at the tap room from 6 to 9. That's all I've got for this week. If you have an event you'd like me to share, please DM the podcast, or you can email me at ashley.feller@gmail.com. One of the best things about St. Andrews is that you can see live music every day. That's right, there is live music being played somewhere in St. Andrews 7 nights a week. Fortunately, my friend Ken Schaefer creates and publishes a weekly schedule for St. Andrews as well as most of Bay County. Ken's spreadsheet schedule is updated often when there's any changes. Ken also shares individual music events and is walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to supporting live music. Not only does Ken supply the music schedules, but he attends several music performances a week and takes fantastic photos of the musicians. As a working musician myself, I feel blessed to have Ken and his wife Donna as treasured members of our local musical family. Make sure you like and follow Ken's page, Salty Sounds in St. Andrews, and Oh Boy Music on Facebook, so that you'll always know where all the live music will happen. Thank you so much, Ken, for everything you do. Eli Ingram is a local singer-songwriter and musician who performs regularly in the Bay County area. He's been playing guitar since he bought his first AC/DC record in the 4th grade. Since then, he's been writing original songs and performing shows live in Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama, but now the focus is mainly on Florida. After graduating from UGA, Eli moved to Nashville to discover the world and lifestyle of a successful songwriter. After leaving Nashville, he returned to Panama City Beach to record an original record. Currently, Eli is recording a new collection of songs. He plays in 2 different bands, one of which plays mostly covers, and the other is dedicated to original music. He has a love of sharing his stories through his songs. Looking forward to sharing his music with everyone. Good morning, Eli. Thank you so much for being here this morning. On a scale of 1 to 10, how caffeinated are you now?
I am like on an 8 on my way to 10.
That's pretty good. So I was reading your bio just a little while ago, and it's interesting that you left Nashville and you recorded here in Panama City. What fueled that decision?
I think simply I'm just most inspired with Panama City and the beach area, the water, the Bay Area. There's a community here where everybody's very accepting and everyone is just trying to make you better yourself. Nashville is very competitive, and that's a good thing. Competition's great. But here it's a little more accepting to actually get your stage time, more comfortable in your own sound to really discover yourself before you put everything out there. So coming back to Panama City was almost like returning home to just be who you really were supposed to be.
So had you lived in Panama City before you
Yes,
moved
ma'am.
to Nashville?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how long were you here?
Well, I moved about 2 weeks before Hurricane Michael. So when I came in, I saw the Category 5 as the worst of it. And I lived through it. And I think that was actually a good thing because I got to see how people can rebuild and just how people come together, especially in this town. And that was a really magical moment. I felt local. I felt like I belonged here instantly.
I would agree to that. Like, I could say that it doesn't matter if your family's been here 100 years or you just got here. This is a very welcoming community, and they're super receptive to different genres of music and different types of people. Why do you think there's so many musicians that are moving from Nashville to Panama City, or more so Panama City Beach area now?
Okay, so what I learned living in Nashville is that there's a triangle. And the triangle kind of begins in Nashville, if that's the home base. And then everybody in Nashville either goes to Panama City to do concerts or tour or gigs. Tootsie's has a lot to do with that because Tootsie's in Nashville is humongous. So they're sending people down to Panama. They get their feet wet and then they start playing other places and they're like, this is where it's at. So to finish the triangle, Panama City, Nashville to Austin, Texas, which I also lived in Austin, Texas. And they have this whole thing about keep it weird. So if you want to get into your style of music and really just figure out who you are and really put it out there for everybody, there's a place for that. So you got Austin, Texas, Nashville, and Panama City. And there's just this triangle where everybody I talked to, they all just travel between that triangle. And I was like, this is so interesting.
That is interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Now, you came back here to record. Can you tell me a little bit about that record?
Yes. Okay. So in my opinion, it's a beautiful point in time. I was still married at the time. It released before all the darkness, before all that kind of went. And so it's just like this innocent record in my life. It's like this moment in time where everything's pure and everything's quote unquote perfect. And I can go back and listen to it and I can just remember just the purity and the good-heartedness and the love and everything. Which now when I write stuff, it's a lot different. And I know that sounds bad, but it's not a bad thing. I'm growing, and I feel like everybody should keep growing. But to be able to go back and listen to things before a tragedy or before something, a life-changing event, and just remember what it was like is magical. I can go back and literally relive where I was. And that's something I couldn't recreate now. So that's what makes music so powerful. If you're really in the moment of it, as time goes by, it'll just take you right back to that point in time.
Yeah, that's sort of something that we creatives accidentally do, is we create these vignettes for ourselves and perhaps others. And I think at the time that we're doing it, that we're really not aware of the impact that it's making on ourselves and perhaps others, because so many of those themes are relatable, especially being in Florida. And you actually play with 2 bands around town.
Yes, ma'am.
I know one is called Wicked Smooth, and that's the cover band.
So I have 2 bands. One's Wicked Smooth, where we do mostly covers, and we gig around town. We've been to the Boathouse, and we've been all the way around from Panama City to Destin, doing covers and a few of my originals. And that's with Cool Carl and Casey Jordan. They are amazing, great friends of mine, a lot of fun. And then on the other side, we have Lights Out, which is a all-original, experimental kind of indie band of 4 musicians that we've been jamming together since the pandemic. And when the pandemic hit, we were like, guys, let's just get together and do this. So we're the Lights Out band. We just do a bunch of original music, and we're actually going to be recording on Tuesday at Gulf Coast, 5 original songs. So looking forward to that. It's with Mike Thompson from the Sons of Saints. Yes. Yeah. So Mike pulled me in. I went and saw a show and got to talking to him. And he's like, yeah, man, come on down, do 5 originals. And I was like, I think we could pull that off.
Yeah, Mike is a great guy. I need to have him on the podcast. I love what he's doing over at 812 with Tom Hoots. That's especially fun. So what do you love about playing here in St. Andrews?
Oh, St. Andrews. What do I love? I love the community. I think the people here are amazing. I think everybody's got your back. They're going to help you get to the top. They're going to literally pick you up if you're down, and they're not going to let you be down or stay down. They're going to be like, look, you got this. You have something special and you need to share it. And everybody just puts their arm around you here, and they just help you get to the front. And that's so special to me. It kind of reminds me of my hometown where I grew up in Georgia, but in a new light. I'm a different person now. I'm in a new era, I guess you could say. And so the community in this town, just everybody is so welcoming, and they want you to get up on stage, and they want to help you, and everybody's just coming together here, especially in the music world, like all the musicians, everybody. I haven't met a bad one yet.
Absolutely. We have a wonderful music community. So going back, how is your experience in Nashville compared to your experience here as being a working musician?
Okay, so Nashville was like college to me. Like going to Nashville, you go into this world where you hear everybody's a songwriter, and you're like, what does that mean? So you move there and you start going to breakfasts in the morning and having brunch with a bunch of people. And you go with one buddy and they introduce you to 5 other people. And you're like, cool, so what do you do? And they shake your hand like, I'm a songwriter. And you're like, dadgummit, I got to stop asking that question. Everybody here's a songwriter, which is cool. You get to know them. You get to see how they do it. And then what I loved about Nashville was this, like literally the culture of songwriting. Like every week, you're going to write about 2 to 3 new songs. And then on Tuesday night, you're going to get up in front of a bunch of people and play it. And then the next week, brand new songs every week. And it's just always moving. There's so much music. There's so much going on. And it's a little overwhelming when you first move there and you're just like, wow, this is a real world. This is really, it's doable. People can really make a life out of this. And it's just beautiful. Taking everything I learned in Nashville and coming back here, I felt a lot more prepared. And more of the idea of understanding what it's like to be a songwriter. What does that mean? What am I doing? Like literally my job, what does it portray to other people? And to see the release some people can have and just listen to your music and be like, oh man, I feel that. And then just like they connect also. So I guess what I brought from Nashville was just that, I don't even know, the culture and the community of just people coming together, really bonding and just doing it for the music.
Yeah, that's a good reminder about Nashville, because one of the things I went there for a little while is because it's so oversaturated with amazing talent, there's not gigs like there is here. It's a lot of sort of tip arrangements. And what you were just saying, I would think that would be a community accountability system, because if you're sitting down at a brunch and saying, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to write 2 or 3 songs and then we're going to play them on Wednesday, then you're forced to do what you said you were going to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What fuels your motivation to write songs?
I'm a storyteller, and I think experience has everything to do with it. I don't like to hide emotions. If it's terrible, I'm going to tell it exactly how terrible it was. If it was great, I'm going to tell you exactly how great it was. But it's the moment of truth that no matter how beautiful or how painful, that's what people can relate to. And if you try and hide that, then you might as well not be a musician, because you got to show it. You got to let people know it can be beautiful and it can be just terrible. But if you can pull through the terribleness and still find some kind of beauty, people will connect. And I didn't really know that till I moved to Nashville. I remember I had just gotten divorced and I moved to Nashville. And I was at the Kid Rock bar and I was talking to the manager there. And he said, "So what brings you to Nashville, Eli?" And I said, "A divorce." And he said, "You're going to make it here." And I was like, what does that even mean? And then so I started going to these shows, and they do this thing on Monday nights called the Song Suffrages. It's at the Listening Room, where it's 5 girls. They get up. It's a different group of 5 girls every week. But they get up there and these 5 girls sing songs about divorce and broken hearts. And I was just like, whoa, I'm not weird. Everybody's going through this. And so that just put it in my head that don't hide it. Everybody's going through something. So just be you and tell them your story. And if they can relate, then maybe you can help them get through it.
And I think that's what makes the singer-songwriter folk Americana genre so attractive to people, because it's relatable. It's not sugar-coated. Folks are being real in their songwriting, and it sounds like you are too.
Absolutely.
Due to the subject matter. And I ask this to every musician who comes on the show. This is a fun question. If you could play any venue in the world, where would it be and why?
Okay, so I'm excited for this question. I've actually played it. It was during the middle of the pandemic. I took a really long road trip and I drove to Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. And I remember walking up the stairs and I had my guitar on my back and I had this pickup built in. So it was like a little speaker. I'm walking to the very top because you have to walk. I don't know if you've ever been to Red Rocks.
I've been there.
You have to walk all the way up to the top to get to the stage. And so I got to the stage, had my guitar on my back, and I was just looking around, and it was in the middle of a pandemic. So there's not like a bunch of people there. And I just had something come over me, and I just jumped up on the stage, and I started playing as many original songs as I could think of. And I'm going to play one of the songs today for you. It's called Move On. And at the end of the song, Move On, it picks up, gets kind of loud, and has this moment of just, what have you done? Why are you living on the run? Like, question. And when I did that, people started cheering, and it just gave me chills. I was like, I'm at Red Rocks. Granted, there's not a lot of people here, but I'm at Red Rocks, and people are cheering for me. And then it just came over me. I was just thinking about all my favorite musicians that have played there, and like the place I am. This is like a holy spot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, something's coming over me right now. This is more exciting, and they're cheering, and I feel maybe I belong here. Something like that. So it was like that feeling. And then, so the question was, where would I want to play? I'd want to play at Red Rocks again, but with a crowd, just like a Red Rocks night. And that's just a dream. Ever since I played there, now I'm like, man, that was so special. And it was something that just happened because I didn't say no, just because I just got up there and did it. And I think that's important. I think that's what a lot of people need to do in their life, is just do it. If you got an idea and you think it can benefit you in some kind of way, like, just do it. And the reward is so worth it. It doesn't matter if you throw up afterwards because you were so nervous. Right. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. You still did it. There's beauty in that.
I think that's one of the best stories I've heard in a while. I was anticipating that answer because I asked Tyler James the same question, and he said Red Rocks. And then I asked Joseph Brooks a couple weeks ago, and he also said Red Rocks.
That's awesome.
And Sandy Marlisa said Dat Cajun Place.
Oh, she would.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I hope they do play there if they haven't already at the new spot. So I hear that there's an event on Mondays that you're rather fond of. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So it's called the Monday Night Little Fest. It happens every Monday, and it's sponsored by Kirk. And I think Cheyenne has a lot to do with it also. They put it together, and it's at the Tap Room here on St. Andrews. And pretty much every week they get about 4 to 5 artists that just need a place to get out and play every night and so I've really taken that one in, and I've done a lot of the Monday Night Little Fests. And what I like to do is at least one new song every time. So for me, it's a great spot to get out. And like in Nashville, the listening rooms, you try out your new songs every week. So the Little Fest did that for me, where it was a place where I could come out and I would try a new song every week, and you could just read the crowd. Was the song good? Did they respond? Was it bad? Did they not respond? Did they feel it? So to me, the Little Fest is just this moment where you can get up and you can try so many new things and see what works and really get to know it.
Yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity to try out new songs, like you just said. So, Eli, thank you so much for being here today on the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. We're going to have a couple of videos on our YouTube channel of your original music. Where can folks find you and your bands online and beyond?
Okay, so the bands all have a Facebook and Instagram page. I have my own original music, just solo, where that can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, pretty much all streaming services. You just type in my name, Eli J. Ingram. And yeah, I have an album out, I have a single out, and then I have pretty much a whole new album in the making, but it probably won't release until after the gigging season. Right now, my head is into playing live, trying out the new songs, and really perfecting the songs before I go and make this studio version of it.
Very cool. Thank you so much again for being here. Folks, make sure you go check out Wicked Smooth and Lights Out. Until then, Eli, thank you for being here, and keep St. Andrews salty.
Thank you.
How many Alabama tags did you see this week? How many from Georgia? There's a lot of both, and it makes me happy that St. Andrews has been a preferred place for tourists for a long time. While I was researching for this week's Old News segment, I found this article in the St. Andrews Bay News published June 26th in 1934. This is called Alabama Cars and Lead Visitors Here. The writer of this article had an occasion to sit for about an hour in a parked car on Harrison Avenue in Panama City. One afternoon during the past week, and just out of want of something to do, started counting the out-of-town cars that were seen. There was a majority of cars from Alabama, and that the others were sidetracked, and a record of only those from Alabama were taken. Every time a car from Alabama drove in a sight, a dot was made on a piece of paper, and when time rolled around for the writer to move on, the dots were counted, and there proved to be 62 cars bearing Alabama license tags and that had driven over the streets of the city during the short time. Alabama is always assured a warm welcome here, and that sister state has claimed Panama City as its playground. The number of cars with their occupants prove a great many people in that state come here on a short business trip, or probably just passing through, or maybe here on vacation. Panama City is always ready to receive the summer visitors as well as the winter visitors, and hope their stay will be just as pleasant as possible. It will be interesting to note that cars from Georgia were also very much in evidence, but those from Alabama were well in the lead over all others during the particular time. Thank y'all so much for listening to episode 35 of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. Thank you so much, everyone, for subscribing and sharing the podcast with all your salty friends. If you hadn't subscribed, then please do. The theme song was written by me and recorded by Dave Schwartz at Boundless Sounds on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. The show was recorded by me in my music room. Till next time, keep St. Andrews salty.
Red lipstick, so thick, and a push-up bra. Tramp stamp, stretch marks, and a lacy thong, 'cause she's a Jezebel, St. Andrew Jezebel, 'cause she's a Jezebel, St. Andrew Jezebel.